What? Did we sell those seats? Where are those people? Hey, if there's people outside that want to come down to the panel, ask them right now. Seriously, tell the volunteers outside if there's anybody who wants to pay $20 and sit down. If you don't show up for your seat, you lose your seat. Hi. Yeah, you can move forward. Yeah, heck yeah. Absolutely. Everybody that's back there, come on, go ahead. In fact, if you're in the back row back there and you want to move up here, those suckers lost their seats. I don't know. I can't speak for them. Come on, move on up. How's everybody doing? You were at my panel earlier. You're a dedicated man, Scorpio. This is fantastic. By the way, can we get a shot on the Chuck Bartowski overgrowth? No, stand up. This is Chuck Bartowski, overgrown beard, cheese balls, cosplay. First I've ever seen, by the way. Well done. Are you digging our new merch this year? Do you like the new merch? Nerdifornia. What? There was something I was going to say. Oh, let's give it up for Eric Artell, by the way. That man, he's such a sweetheart. Got my Nerd HQ cup. Excuse me. All right, well, while we're waiting for people to fill in those seats, let's open it up for some questions. Who has a question? Right there, yeah. Give that lady. All right, right next to you. Boom.
Just wanted to check. First of all, congratulations on becoming an uncle.
Thank you very much. Yes, Shekinah, my sister, the queen of everything, queen of all volunteers, just had a baby, little Griffin.
Yeah.
He's adorable. I know, right? I call him Gryffindor. What? The only... anyway, go ahead.
I was like, I'm
listen,
Hufflepuff.
All you Hufflepuffs and Slytherins, and that's great. It's Gryffindor for life. Go ahead. And not just because Harry was. Anyway, what's your question?
And Ron was. So can we expect a little, Zach, Tom Hiddleston dance off at the party tonight?
If I owned a crystal ball, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't even know when Tom gets to town. I don't. But tonight. Maybe. I have no idea. But if you're there, you'll know. Yes, in the back with the afro. Hit it.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
So seeing you on Broadway was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Yeah, queen. Show of hands, who actually came and saw She Loves Me? Boom, you're awesome. Who watched the live stream of She Loves Me? Wasn't that dope? The dopest. History made. Continue, Afro.
Yeah, no worries. So I was just wondering, what was the most challenging part about doing a live show 8 times a week?
All the meth I had to do in order to do... No, it's so funny. I joke about meth. I really should never joke about meth. Don't joke about meth. But it's funny. No, the hardest thing about doing 8 shows a week is just... it's a marathon. The very last... Was anybody there at the very last... Were you at the last show? You were at the last show? You were at the last show. So in my typical Zachary Levi fashion, I started breaking down like a baby. And I think a lot of people thought that it was because I was sad. And I was sad. There was a part of me that was like, these are my peeps, my family that I've been, my brothers and sisters in arms that we've been fighting this fight for. And it is. I mean, it is a really gnarly marathon of energy and voice and keeping yourself healthy. And, when I did First Date, I missed 2 shows. It was one day. It was a Saturday toward the end of the run. And I missed one Saturday and it was 2 shows. And I was bummed. I was so bummed that there were people that came to the show, even if it's just one person that comes to your show, and they came for you and you're not there, that's a bummer. And I feel very responsible for that. So in order to keep that momentum going, your energy and all that, and be slinging the same jokes and lines and keep being present, I mean, it's mentally super taxing. She Loves Me was a little bit more physically taxing for me too, doing stuff like the cartwheel where I pulled my hamstring and then I had to take it out of the show forever, and then I would put it back and I'd pull my cartwheel or pull my hamstring again. So all that stuff. But anyway, coming all the way around. So the last show, I got to the theater that day and I was in great spirits. I was happy. I was actually happy to be done. I mean, it's a gnarly thing to do that. And And I knew I'd see a lot of those people that I connected with over the course of time. It won't be the last time I do a Broadway show, hopefully, and it certainly won't be the last time I'm in New York, hopefully. But I got to the end of the show, and I'm looking, like, Jane Krakowski was already, like, she was starting to get emotional earlier on in the show. You know, and you're right there with them. You can see if their eyes are getting a little glassy. And then we get to that last scene, and then I looked at Byron Jennings and Nick Barish, who played Marichek and Arpad, and I see a little glassiness in their eyes, and then immediately I'm like, oh, here it goes. Look at, I can feel it coming in the air. Like, it was like, and I was like, oh, no. And then I say goodbye to them. It's like, Merry Christmas. And then I go to this storage room in the back, and that's where I'm grabbing my hat and my jacket, and then I come back out. They have their little bit, and then they leave, and it's just me and Laura. And for any of you who were there, two of you who were there that last night. So I start this scene, which is normally, you know, it's funny and it's romantic, and there's been some emotional bits of it throughout the run, but I start doing that scene with her, and immediately I start, like, just, like, weeping. Like heavy, bad cry sobbing. Like, ugly cry sobbing. I'm like, I could not get the words out of my mouth, bad weeping. And by the way, and I know a bunch of you guys were all sitting in the front row. Well, you guys are in the front row, right? And I heard you guys go, oh, like, I could hear that. Now, but here's the thing, though. So it was partly because of sadness, but it was mainly because, and I've never run a marathon and I've never competed in an Ironman, but I can only imagine that you get to the end of a marathon or an Ironman or something like that, and you cross the finish line after doing everything that you've just done, and it's those people that just go, and they cross, and they're on their knees, and, and you start, and you're creeping, which is a cross between crying and weeping. Coined it, I was just toasted. I was so emotionally. It's like, for any of you who have been to these panels, if the last panel that I host this weekend, when I'm saying goodbye to everybody, and I have just lost my shit, and tears are falling out of my face, I'm like, it's so good, it was a great fun weekend, we danced, everything, and I bring this smile, like, that's, I'm not sad, I'm just toasted. I'm so toasted. And it's been such an incredible emotional roller coaster. And we've all, by the way, you guys, hey, welcome all the new people that just came in. Yeah! Full panel, $4,000, 16 smiles. Right there, guys. Right there. And that is why, you know, I put everything I have into that show at any given time, because you don't know who's going to be there. And I'm not talking about, you know, some actor or some producer. I'm talking about people who have paid really good money. Broadway is not cheap, and they have flown sometimes halfway around the world and gotten hotels and all that stuff because, I know, right? I know, because look, when you think about it, it's powerful, and I think we ought to think about the things that are powerful in life, because it gives you context and it gives you perspective and it makes you appreciate what you have. But going out to stage door and signing autographs or taking photos of people and them saying, like, I'm a Chuck fan. I watch Chuck religiously. I still watch it. I introduce it to my friends and family. And I live in the Philippines, and I flew all the way from the Philippines to come and watch. Thank you, love. Thank you. It's not that bad yet, but I appreciate it. But that's context. You go, holy crap. Like, I'm so blessed that, A, I get to do what I love to do for a living. And then B, that I feel like that God gives me cool visions and stuff of things that I like to do and put together like HQ, but that people support me. And that's why I believe, it's one of the reasons why I do this, because I really, and I've said this for years, you are the patrons of the arts. You are the producers. Don't let anybody tell you differently. If you all collectively decided we're not going to go see movie X, that movie is never made. And if it is made, they never make a sequel, and those people who wanted to make that movie probably never work again. You have the power of Grayskull. You have the power. And so and I don't take that lightly. I know that everything that I get to do, whether it's Nerd HQ or She Loves Me or Chuck or whatever the hell else I get blessed enough to do, I only get to do it because of you guys, because you guys come and support me, and you fly halfway around the world sometimes from the Philippines. Or where's the craziest place somebody in this panel is from? Anyone? Raise your hand if you're from outside of the country. Australia? Canada, come on. Some America Light. No. Diet US. No, okay, come on, I love Canada. Oh, Canada. Yes, where are you from? Germany. Also Germany. Germany and also Germany. What, anybody else? What? Switzerland? France? Glendale? What? Is that what I just heard? Straight out of Compton? Anybody else straight out of Compton? Rancho. That's like another planet. Where are you from, sir? From Scotland. Okay. So probably, I think Switzerland. No, actually Australia. Australia for time. Australia is more similar in culture, I guess, but for actual flight time. And you flew, and are you going to SDCC? Or did you just come out for HQ? You want to nerd HQ, okay. Well, listen, this is a case in point. And for my friends from Germany and Switzerland and from Canada and from Rancho Cucamonga, I don't care if you drove 5 minutes or flew 20 hours. You took your time and your energy and your money and said, I want to go and be a part of this. And I don't take that lightly. I think that's a beautiful, awesome thing, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We all do. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Question right here in the front. Yes, you have to stand up. Stand and be counted.
Speaking of She Loves Me, I've got a couple of playbills. I have no idea if anybody would be interested in them.
Yeah, you want me to sign those and auction those off?
Yes.
Give me those. Who's got a Sharpie? We can get a silver Sharpie? Huh? No, just ask somebody. There's a silver Sharpie in the back. A silver Sharpie?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Toss it up here.
Well, don't
Just throw it. Just throw it. Just throw that Sharpie. I'm gonna move on to. Oh, and you have a question too.
Yes.
Oh. Well, wait. What? I mean, at least give me a heads up, for God's sake. Did it go off the stage? Oh, there it is. What? I love that grown men in the audience are like, yeah! Yeah! Anybody at their first Nerd HQ panel right now?
No.
This is the first panel y'all have ever been to at Nerd HQ? I know, we talked about this. Well, all this stuff that's going on, that's what you're in store for. Hold on one second, I'm gonna sign these. Talk amongst yourself. What's that? That's my cup, girl. I might. I'm gonna auction that up for a lot of money, though, if I auction it. Be prepared to pay for it. Hold on. Oh, my gosh. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sign these at the end, but imagine they're signed. $20? 20? 40? 60? Do I hear 80? 80? 100? 120? Going once? Going 120? 140? 2 is for her blood. 140 sold. Boom, right there. You want to go 120 on that one? 120? Anybody want to beat that? No? 120? Oh, this is the very last show one. Oh, that's pertinent information before I start a bidding war. Jeez. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give last show to highest bidder. So I'll give you, for 140, I'll give that. Do you want to outbid that for last show, or do you want to do 120 for the other one? 120 for the other one. So, boom, done. See, that all worked out. All's well that ends well. And I'll sign those, and we'll get those to you guys. Make sure you find a volunteer and give them your cash. Fantastic. And while I sip on this very tasty beverage, I'll think about how much I'm going to auction this off for. Nerd HQ cup with my spit on it. And if you bid enough, I might even leave you a little backwash. You never know. But you want it. Everyone's going, ew. But yes. I can bottle it and wear it around my neck. I don't know. Yes, we had a question. Yes, sorry. Again, this is what Nerd HQ is about. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
The biggest thing that I admire about you is your faith.
Thanks.
And your just your love for Jesus. And
Sure.
So I was curious if you've ever shared, or if you could share, how you met Jesus and how you started your relationship with him.
Well, I mean, I grew up in a Christian home adjacent, a Christian-ish home. My mom and dad were both believers, but we got divorced early on in my life, and both continue to be believers, but very different believers. And I grew up with my mom, and she had a particular spirituality about her. My dad had a particular spirituality about him. I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, whatever your faith is, even within the same faith, we all have very different kind of relationships with what that faith is. And so I grew up in and around it, and I was aware of it, and I learned a lot about it. But it wasn't until I was about 18 where I really kind of made a decision as an adult and as an individual, and I said, I don't want to just believe something because my parents believe it. And I think it's important that we all do that, regardless of whether it's spirituality or politics or whatever. We have to know why we believe what we believe. And I think one of the major problems with the world right now is that people just believe shit because somebody told them to believe it. And that's scary. That is really, really scary. That's why, I mean, I not to get into politics, and I'm not going to go down this road, but good Lord, we've all joked about for so long, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. I have no idea. Like, this is incarnate right now, as far as I'm concerned. I don't even know what the hell is going on right now. Anybody who loves Hillary, obviously that's totally your prerogative. Anybody who loves Trump, that's your prerogative. I'm not judging you for that. I'm basing them both on the things that I've heard them say, their track records and all that stuff. I'm terrified. I personally am terrified. There's that libertarian dude. I don't even know that much about him, but I'm going to go look it up. I don't want anybody telling me, well, this is who this is. I want to know who that dude is. I still believe that the United States of America is the greatest country in the world. I really do believe that. And I think that part of the reason why is because we not only do we have the freedoms, but we have a system that's set up where we can go and truly vet these people. And by the way, and all these things that are going on just in life right now, the things that are most powerful to me, like watching Black Lives Matter protests and cops coming together and having these picnics and all these things, like, that's power. That's beautiful. That's something that I go, God, if we could do more of that, if we could be people that are on two sides of an aisle of whatever the issue is and go, how do we see each other? How do we love each other? Anyway, rabbit trailing a little bit. But the point is, so then when I was 18, and I was like, I don't want to just believe this because my parents do. That's nonsense to me. And so I just started diving into it for myself and questioning a whole bunch of things. By the way, for example, like I don't call Jesus Jesus. I call him Yeshua. Like that's, people go, why do you call him Yeshua? And I go, well, because if you look in the Bible, his name was actually kind of Joshua, and then through various translations, it ended up becoming Jesus. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't call him Jesus. He still knows who you're talking to if you're talking to Jesus. But to me, I was like, well, wait a minute, I know this. I've studied enough to know that his name isn't actually Jesus, that it's more or less Yeshua. I want to call him that. So when I pray, that's what I call him. There's a whole bunch of other things that I believe about Christianity that I'm sure a lot of mainstream Christians would be like, you what? And I go, yeah, that's what I believe. But at the end of the day, to boil it all down, I really do believe that, I believe that once upon a time we had this really incredible, like, treasure map. In fact, there's a lot of really incredible treasure map, like spiritual, religious treasure maps that basically were like, turn left here, turn right here, go down here, move over here, do this, do that, and then eventually you get to be with God or meet God or whatever. But one of the things I think is so amazing about specifically the spirituality of the relationship in a Christian format or with Yeshua is that I always liken the closest thing I can liken it to is like the compass that Jack Sparrow had in Pirates of the Caribbean. But instead of it pointing to where his desires were, that Yeshua is the compass that points to where his desires are. You might instead of having the map and all the things are going to go, it's like you're playing Pokemon Go. You're like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, no, there's some rustling leaves right there. Like, you're doing I just compared Jesus to Pokemon Go. That's fantastic. First time ever. First time it's ever happened. Maybe. I don't know. So, and to me, that's what faith is. That's what trust is. I really believe that God is good and he loves us and he wants us to trust him or her or it or whatever you want to call that. But I really do believe it's about a relationship, and I believe that, and there's so much, amazing love that's involved in that. So that's where ultimately I came to. And by the way, and it's an ongoing thing too. It's a journey. It's a relationship. I am such a fuck up in so many ways. I fail all the time, and thank God he loves me. And thank God he still picks me up. And I not going to go there. Not going to go there. Great question. Next question. Hat in the back. Hat in the back. Cat in the hat in the back. What if you were dressed
Hello.
as a cat? That'd be amazing.
That would be cool. So I have 3 daughters under the age of 4, and whenever the sun comes out, they say, "It's a lovely sunny day," because of your
They have
Sesame
great
Street
taste.
song. Yes, yeah. And my oldest told me to say hi if I,
Hi, oldest.
yeah, her name's Jaya.
Hi, Jaya.
So I was just wondering, because I think you're doing another Sesame Street's going to come out soon, or is it out, or?
You know what's, you know, the honesty, the honesty. Honestly, I have no idea.
Oh.
There were people on Twitter after I had recorded that episode, and they were saying, "Hey, thought you were great on Sesame Street," and then I thought, "Oh, I guess it aired already."
Oh.
But has it aired? Does anybody here watch
I
it?
haven't seen it, but I don't know.
I don't know. Then apparently
in the fall.
I haven't missed it.
Yeah, so, but I was just wondering if you could share a little bit about it, like what it's like to work with Muppeteers. Muppets, like how is that filming?
Muppeteers?
What does that look like? Is it puppets, Muppets? What do they call it?
Well, I think they're puppeteers.
Puppeteers.
The Muppets are a
a
sect
branch?
of the
Okay.
Henson family.
Right.
Sect, I know, right? Like, they're I don't know. They're awesome. I love the Muppets. It was so cool. It was so cool. Look, I don't know that I'll ever get to a place of like acclaim or fame or things that other people in life get to. Thanks for bearing with me. But I do look back on my life a lot and I go, wow, on the master list of like bucket list checkoffs, I've gotten to do so many. I'm one performance away from a performance EGOT. I got to perform at the Emmys a few years ago when Jane Lynch hosted and we were the Emmy Tones. Remember that? Anybody watch that? That was the craziest, dumbest thing ever. But I performed at the Emmys. Performed at the Tonys this last year, and then performed at the Oscars. So if I can perform at the Grammys, I've gotten a performance EGOT. Performing at the Grammys is kind of a bigger deal, though. That's like, I actually made an album, which I might. Take it easy. Don't take it easy. That's great, isn't it? No, I'm kidding. So that's cool. Like all those things, those are all cool things. But dude, being on Sesame Street, I was like, what? I'm not, because I'd done a couple of those other things, like, A Lovely Sunny Day video, which was and by the way, the guy who wrote that was at Mashable? Yeah. No, that's fine. By the way, I rely on you guys for my memory a lot of times. Even when it comes to Chuck stuff, like, I remember, sorry, this is tangenting, but I'll get back to you. Chuck fans, TV fans, like diehard fans in general, you guys are awesome, right? You devour these shows, you know these shows, you love these shows. I think last year somebody asked Yvonne and I a question about one of the episodes, and we were like, I have no idea. I don't know. And yet, every single time I've ever had Jared Padalecki or Jensen or Supernatural, they know everything. I'm like, how do you have the time? I do 1 convention a year, you do 1,000. Maybe that's how they remember. That's how they do it. Got to the bottom of it. I'm on to you, Padalecki. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Point is, Sesame Street, massive bucket list, and there's lovely people. And I wish they've had probably, I think, 4 different studios or 3 different studios since the beginning. I wish, the little kid in me wishes that it was the same studio, the same place that I watched when I was a little kid. But regardless of that, you're still walking onto Sesame Street. The first picture I took was like I walked in and there was like a little street light post thing with, what do we call it? Street sign. Thank you. It's Ginkgo biloba. And it was like 5th and Sesame Street or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. And getting to meet Big Bird, work with Big Bird. I got to keep a feather. I got my own little, on my dressing room door was a little, I think I Instagrammed it, the Zachary Levi in the Sesame Street font with the thing. I'm like, it's like crazy killer bucket list stuff. And if I never get to do it again, bummer, but I got to do it, And if I get to the end of my life and I can look at my list and go, got to do it, got to do this, got to do HQ for as long as we get to do it. Got to bring in as many cool panelists as we could. Got to go and do smiles. Got to raise money. Got to play video games. Got to bring smiles to each one of your faces as much as we can. Got to make a movement. not a monument, but a movement, and touch people's lives and pay that forward. Like, that stuff just drives me. I love it. So Sesame Street was great. Yes, right here. And thank you for your generosity, again, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for Smiles for Smiles.
You're welcome, yeah.
So
I think I'm doing another one of those after this, by the way, so if anybody, yeah.
I'll date it all.
Don't hold me to that,
It's
yeah.
all yours.
Yeah.
So I found you from Chuck. I just binged it on Netflix because something just called me to it, and that's how I discovered all of this. So I was wondering, 2 quick questions.
Yeah.
One, how do you, when you're going from roles like when you were playing Luke in Heroes, and you had to play that dark character, how do you put aside that character when you're going back to your regular life, and then vice versa, if you're in a dark mood but you have to play a happy character like George, how do you put that aside? And then second quick question.
Yeah.
Do you know any other projects where you can do a series or movies or anything like that next?
I'll answer the second question first, and the first question, obviously, second. The second question is, yes, I have some stuff that's lined up. I'm doing an indie comedy in LA, and then I go take off for a little bit and go do a few days on another project, and then I end up in Toronto. I'm going to do this miniseries for woo, clearly Canada's in the house. And go do a miniseries for Netflix for that. But I can't, unfortunately, because none of it's been released yet. None of it's been announced. I can't really talk about any of it. But yes, I have some things that are lined up, and I hope that you guys enjoy them and like them. And thank you. And then as far as the first question is concerned, I mean, I think it all depends on the role, and also depends on the actor. Like some actors really need their like kind of ramp up and ramp down time for their characters. I am not that good of an actor, so no. Come on, if I can't fuck around, then what are we talking about? I'm not looking for sympathy, but am I a good actor? But I tend to have roles that are more like myself. So then it's more a matter of just kind of like trying to get myself in the headspace of wherever that character's at. Luke was interesting because Luke was definitely probably maybe the darkest character I played to date, as far as what you guys have all seen. I did theater before, and I played some pretty twisted folks, and that was fun. But Luke was, of like TV and all that stuff, the darkest character I played. And I happened to be going through a pretty dark time in my life at that time, and I just try to use that, you know. At the end of the day, you got to try and make it as honest and real as you can, even when you have superpowers, and even when things might not make sense. But you still have to do your job to make it as real as you can. So yeah, I mean, there were definitely days where it was a little heavier. I mean, look, when we were doing toward the end of Chuck, and there were some super emotional scenes between Chuck and Sarah. That was heavy. That sat with me. But, until I was like, okay, and that's my job, and I have a whole life, and there's people that aren't depending on me to not be morose, but I'm depending on me to not be more. I don't want to go walk around and be like, I'm really bummed out because I had to cry today at work. It's like, get over it. Get over it. Great job, you cried at work. Now go play some ping pong, for God's sake. Does that answer your question? Fantastic. Let's go over here somewhere. I'm going to come back to you. You gave me Kleenex. You're definitely going to, yes, right there. Yes, you right there. Oh, my 2 Playbill buyers. That worked out perfectly.
So, what's your favorite memory from filming Tangled?
Ooh. Favorite memory from filming Tangled? Well, I mean, not that it was during the well, actually, we didn't film it. But from the creation of, yeah. I understood. But so it didn't happen while we were creating it, but certainly afterwards that Mandy and I got to sing at the Oscars was like, and my publicist Tage, by the way, we saw like the first rough screening of it, and she said, she goes, I think you guys are going to be singing at the Oscars. I was like, shut up. And then we did. She's got a crystal ball. And so that was amazing. It was also the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life. And I've jumped out of planes and I love that. But then I'm strapped to a professional and I'm like, well, my life's in your hands. Let's go. But performing at the Oscars was huge bucket list. Like, I can't believe we got to do that. But it was also so terrifying. Like, she came out first, and Mandy's had a lot more experience singing in front of a lot of people. I would do musicals, but I'm also just singing as as a character. I have a character to hide behind. When you're exposing yourself as you, like, I'm fine doing this because this is what I like to do. And I have, word diarrhea, and it just is what it is. But going and, and being very professional and on point as a singer in front of every possible person that could either help or end my career right then, and the billion people watching at home around the world. And Mandy comes out and she's singing, and all I could think about in my head was, look at Mandy, 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 look out, 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 don't look down, don't look down, don't look at Halle Berry, don't look at Halle Berry, look out, hit that, no, 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 no. Now look at Mandy and smile, give her a wink, we did it, and scene. That I didn't wet myself. But the entire experience was amazing. I've been a Disney nerd since I was this big. Anybody who follows me on Twitter, if you didn't already know that, literally the last 2 tweets or Instagrams I put out reference my love for Disney. We quote it all the time in my home, my sisters, my dad, my friends. Ooda lolly, I love me some Disney. And so and I'm a Southern California kid, so we went to Disneyland all the time. And that I dreamt of being in a Disney musical, and then got to be in a Disney musical. And not just any Disney musical, but the 50th movie feature that they had done. That it happened to be the 50th, and that it was Tangled. And it is, I'm not, and look, I know I'm biased, but I really do think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's a great movie. I think it really hits on all levels, and Disney and Lasseter and everybody, they're awesome. So. And I get to be the fireworks. Come on. And little kids' games, I think. Yes, sir, right back there in the back. Big man.
What, me?
Yeah, you.
All right.
I can tell from the size of your hands. Look at those mitts.
I'm a massage therapist, actually. I've got
What are you
cards.
implying?
Yes, I've come all the way from 5 blocks from here to talk to you.
See, it takes a village.
Yes, that's right. I wanted to know if there was a situation when you were coming up in the world here where you kind of ran against having to weigh sort of your moral convictions versus furthering your career.
Oh, sure.
How do you reconcile that?
Yeah. Have a seat if you don't mind.
Why? Am I in somebody's...
Because you're a massive wall of man. Massive wall of man. Okay, all right. It works. Coined it. I know, right? If I had a nickel... I know, I'd coin it, exactly. I know. It's a way Homer. Yes, the answer is yes. But in conjunction to my answer previously, my faith and my morals and things have evolved. They're ever evolving. My opinions on, in particular, certain staunch hard lines that I used to have about certain things may have shifted, may have gotten even stronger. When I started in the business, I knew a lot of people that were of similar faith or that were at least very moral or whatnot, and they were their lines were really interesting to me. And by interesting, I mean I thought they were. I didn't agree with them, but again, that's their journey, that's their life. But I remember that they would turn down going in for a role of a girl who had a sex scene, for example. It's like okay, but then they would go in for the same movie for a different role. But I would sit there and I go, you realize that it's the whole piece that people are taking in. If the messaging of the piece, whatever that is do this or don't do this, if you're in that, even if you're not the character doing it, you're still condoning what that is. So to me, I would play a cracked out murderer, whatever, like the darkest of the dark, as long as it's portrayed in a context that's real and that a kid can't watch that and go, I want to be that cracked out weirdo guy that's, like you can't, if you're watching Breaking Bad and everything that Bryan Cranston does is just celebrated, there's a problem in that. What made Breaking Bad awesome, one of the many things that made it awesome, was that he succeeded to only fail in a huge ball of flame. Like it shows you where a trail of darkness goes to. And that's a great character to play. But so I would say I'd play the darkest character ever in the right context, but I'd never play a priest in a porno. I mean, think about it. Like, so you're the one character in a porno who's just like, oh, but you're in that. That's happening. That's going on. So people have really, everybody's on their journey, but my convictions have always been like, it's about the piece. I don't think there's anything wrong with any single thing in any movie or whatever. It depends on how it's put out there. I think there's been full-on nudity in movies that some people are like, why would you ever need to have full nudity? And I go, well, I don't know. I watched a movie about cavemen, and I want to watch a real movie about cavemen, and they're running around naked as jaybirds. I want to watch that movie. If it's cavemen are fixing your cable, that's not the movie I want to be in. What's that? Gosh darn it. No cable, caveman? Oh. Yes, right in the back over there. Oh.
So last time I talked to you on a Chuck filming, you were talking about like the future of television and the future of like studios. How are we gonna get Nerd HQ Studios?
Nerd HQ Studios?
You can like,
what do you mean?
Produce stuff.
Well, we are. Well, Nerd Machine produces stuff.
I mean, like
Geeks Who Drink. Wearing.
I mean, like full scale though, like because you've done a.
Was Geeks Who Drink not full scale enough?
I meant like.
No. Look, I understand. I think I understand what you're saying, but the problem is that it is not that easy to get a television show produced and put on TV. It's not at all, or movies or whatever. But I have some ideas about what I'm trying to hopefully. By the way, remember a couple years ago when we did the crowdfunder for Nerd HQ? And one of the things I was telling people was, this will help me to know if I can go and like do a certain idea that I had in my head about even making a Chuck movie. Now, no, hold on. Unfortunately, the response to the way that we ran that Kickstarter in some ways was great, and in other ways it wasn't. But I learned from that. I don't want to do Kickstarters. When I say Kickstarter, I don't mean just Kickstarter in general. I mean crowdfunding. I personally am not for, and I've said this again many times, I don't like super crazy tiered crowdfunding reward systems. I don't. I believe that the reward itself should be whatever you're putting your money into. That's what I believe. If you think this piece of tech or this movie is awesome, great, then put your money into it, and then when it's all done, you get it. That's what you paid for. Anything beyond that, I really feel like it's like actors having to whore themselves out in order to just be like, will you please help me make my movie? And it's like, I would hope that whatever we're making is so good that you'd be like, I'm putting $20 into it, there we go, boom. And so that's why with the crowdfunding thing, I was like, I'm only asking for $5. And unfortunately, a lot of people are like, well, where's all my rewards? And I go, I'm sorry, but this kid over here, his paper route, he can afford $5. And I don't want him to be excluded because rich douchebag has $2,000, so he gets to hang out on the set with everybody and be like, yeah, I put $2,000 in this movie. Get out of here. It's not my bag. Other people can do that. That's not my bag. So if I can figure out a way where it's super democratic and cool, and it's like probably the most socialist thing I'll ever be a part of. Love Bernie Sanders, love him, not a socialist. But anyway, I'm not. Anyway, point is, I do believe in certain things that should be fair for everybody. And I think 20. That's why these panels are $20. That's why smiles are $20. If we have to raise it one day because of inflation or things or whatever, and trying to continue to raise money, I hope everybody's with us on that bag. Rock and roll. But as long as we can keep it at 20, because again, I told day one, I was like, what's one bill? $20. That's one bill. Easy. Boom. Done. I try to make things as seamless and as easy and as democratic as possible. So if we can create a system, if I can totally overthrow entertainment in general, which, by the way, I want to, and I already have a whole, and I've teased about this in years past. I've just never talked about it because I don't want anybody punking my IP or my idea. But I want to do something where I can keep bringing awesome stuff and that you guys all actually have kind of some real power and say in almost like, in the same way that like the video game industry pre-sells their games, I want to pre-sell TV shows and pre-sell movies, and there'll be some kind of little reward for anybody who like that pre-bought and just didn't wait until it came out. But this whole game of entertainment is so hard.
So I guess my question is,
Yeah. So, and then the question was,
what's the progress of that, where we actually buy the stuff that you will make because we want to support your stuff?
The colored pinwheel is spinning on the screen at the moment. It's here, and it's even been built a little bit, but life took a little bit of a left turn for me a couple years ago, and I needed to go focus on those things. And look, and I trust in God's timing. If I can make this thing happen, and you all are, because it's not going to work if I'm the only guy going, hey, let's do this. It's going to take everyone, or at least a lot of us, going, I'm with you. I'm with this new idea of, and by the way, and it'll involve, in the same way that we do HQ, I believe in conscientious capitalism. I believe that we can have a merch booth and make some money and do well for Nerd Machine while simultaneously raising a bunch of money for nonprofit. The same thing would be with this new service. I don't know why, and maybe somebody watching this will do this and they'll beat me to the punch, but I won't mind if they beat me to the punch of integrating nonprofit into entertainment. But I don't know why we can't go and buy movies and TV shows and whatever, and that like a portion, 10% of that goes to making the world a better place. Let's do that. It's incentive. It's one of the reasons why people like Tom's shoes so much. Tom's shoes, I mean, they're simple little shoes. Kind of comfy, whatever. You can paint on them. Easy. But they're doing something good with Tom's shoes, and plenty of other companies that do the same thing. Let's do that. So I'm working on it. I probably just should have said, I'm working on it. But yes. For her, oh, look at you. Generosity in the front row.
Thank you. Hi, Zach. I'm
Hi.
Ruthie.
Hi.
I actually met you on the 2000.
Yeah, just take a step. You were right in the zone. Yeah.
Where we go? The 2009 Hollywood Handshake Tour that you did for USO.
Yes.
You came out on the Eisenhower.
I did.
You caught me in the hangar bay and freaked me out because you remembered my name.
Oh.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice to see you in person.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, not many people. Hey, Ruth.
No, you're welcome for remembering your name, but I'm sorry I freaked you out.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to give you this.
Okay.
This is one of the anchors that I had.
Thank
I
you.
just made chief last year, but I'm getting.
Congratulations. Made chief, everybody.
A side note, I'm getting medically retired though, so I retire in like 6 days.
Well, congratulations for your retirement too. Thank you for your service, by the way. How about a round of applause for our men and women in the armed forces? Thank you for keeping us free and safe that we could come around and do all this ridiculous tomfoolery.
You're welcome.
And do you have a question?
Yes, my question was, are you going to do another USO tour?
I would love to. Have a seat. I would love to do a USO tour. I've actually tried to organize a few since going on that tour. Ruthie was referring to a trip that I took. It was me, Christian Slater, Cal Penn, and Joel David Moore. And we all had a buddy that came with us, and we went to, there you go. Here, I'll show him. That's like the Hollywood Handshake Tour. There's the four of us. Knuckleheads, all being knuckleheads. But anyway, so there you go, hon. And we flew out to Bahrain first in the Middle East, and we did a whole tour of the base there in Bahrain. And then from there, we flew out to the USS Eisenhower, which was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. They pack you in this, what's a Greyhound, right? A C2, C3? No, what is it? Is it the transport? A cod. Okay. I got caught on. Simmer down. So it's basically a troop and supply transport thing, and they pack you into this turbo. And by the way, we flew. So I was like, we get to fly to an aircraft carrier and land on an active aircraft carrier in like the what sea? Indian Ocean. Awesome, right? Now, I don't realize how long this flight's going to be, nor do I compute that this is kind of a smaller aircraft. So you're going to get hit by turbulence a lot harder than if you're in a bigger aircraft. And I know myself better than this because I get some motion sickness stuff, and I normally will take Dramamine if I have to do that. But I was like, I'm good. I was not good. We're facing back. By the way, you have to face back. The seats all face backwards because when you land, you get like caught by the cables on the aircraft carrier. They got to stop you real quick, and you can't be facing forward. Boo, whatever that is. So you do this. So we're facing backwards, and all of us are packed into this ship, into this plane, and we're about an hour and a half into, I think what was like a 3.5 hour, 4 hour flight in this little turboprop plane just over nothing but ocean to go out to this aircraft carrier. And about an hour and a half in, I start puking. Now, by the way, mind you, I have a big old beard too at this point. Oh, yeah. I start puking, and I did not stop puking until we got to the Eisenhower. And when we got to the Eisenhower, this is amazing. We land, and I had no idea this was gonna happen. We come out of the back of the plane, because it's got like a back hatch thing. We come out of the back of the plane, and there are all these videographers and photographers all being like, "Welcome to the ship," and I'm going, and I'm running past all of them. They're like, "Where's he going?" And I run into the captain's quarters, and I go to his bathroom, and I just keep puking in the bathroom until they finally give me like water and Dramamine. So thanks for bringing that up. No, it's honestly, it's one of the funniest things. I mean, it wasn't funny at the time, but it's hysterical to talk about now. And then we did that. By the way, aircraft carriers are one of the craziest, coolest things I've ever been on. It's like, it's a floating city with 4,500 people who live on it at any given time, all with crazy awesome jobs. We were on the flight deck while, Goose and Maverick are getting the high signs like, go, shoot, go, jump on. You're like, yeah. You got like the headphones on because it's so damn loud up there. And yet, I'm looking at the sides of the ship going, how many people fall off? And you can't turn it around. They just throw them, they're like, have fun, we're out. Thanks for your service. And then we ended up going to Djibouti, Africa, actually, right after that. We did 2 stops. We went to Djibouti, Africa, and we got to go and greet all the soldiers there and go into the villages in Djibouti and meet the elders of the villages. We went to a cheetah refuge. I mean, it was such an amazing trip. And I'm so glad that I met you there, and thank you for my anchor. Oh, wait, what was that? What was the question? What was your question? Oh, yes, and yes, I would love to do another USO tour. I said that. I did say that in the beginning. I did say that. I just wanted to expound on. But yeah, it's awesome, man. The USO's awesome. And I really, really genuinely have always been a massive supporter and advocate of our men and women in service. I mean, that is a job that not everybody wants to do, and a lot of people need to do if we are going to maintain what we have in this country and what we have around the world. We can get into all kinds of policy stuff that's, regardless of the policies that all those ridiculous people that unfortunately we've all elected on some level or another have done with what we've elected them to do. The people that are on the ground, in the planes, on the ships, those people are, and their families are awesome. So thank you to you, and thank you to your family for giving us all of your service. Thank you. And I was just over here, so now I'm going to come over here. Oh, it's almost like you're like twins. Like one has a right arm and one has a left arm up. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I wasn't too far off. You know what? I'm gonna do a double up right there. So each one of you ask a question. First time. I've never done that before.
So I know you played Fandral in Thor: The Dark World already.
I did.
So if the opportunity came up again, would you play another comic book role?
Oh my God, of course, absolutely. I'd love to play. I mean, look, if I think it depends on the role. Because there's some that I might be like, I don't know. I don't think that they're that interesting. But fortunately, most comic book characters are either heroes or villains, and they're badasses, and that'd be fun to play another role. I always said I'd want to play Deadpool. That didn't happen. That's okay. That's okay. I said in my earlier panel, very happy with what they did. And Ryan Reynolds rocked that, and he should. It was his. I mean, he was already Deadpool before, and I appreciate when they keep canon. I really do. Well, not that there's been a lot of breaking of a lot of canon for a long time, but at least in Deadpool I think they did a great job. And I thought playing Gambit would be awesome, but that role's taken. A lot of the good ones are taken. It's like finding love, really. It's like, oh, she's. So yeah, I don't know, but I'd totally be open to it. Yeah. And what is your question?
Well, first of all, I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
And I have a friend. Her name is Summer, and she loves you too. And so we kind of, try to figure out who you love more.
Well, where's Summer?
She is watching the live stream right now. She couldn't get tickets.
Well, then I love you more right now because you're here.
She heard that.
I know, you told me she was watching. Oh, I know what I'm doing.
But my question is, do you consider yourself the godfather of the nerds?
No, I don't. Not at all. I totally appreciate when people give me monikers like, King, Nerd King, or Nerd Prince, or blah blah blah. People have made all kinds of things. Like there was one picture that somebody did up. Did up with me and Fillion, like both like in kind of like royal gear, and he was like the Nerd King and Nerd Prince or whatever. And those are all funny and entertaining or whatever. Look, at the end of the day, there are people who have been way more involved and dedicated in nerd culture, in genre, in fantasy and sci-fi. Not that I didn't grow up doing all that myself, but I only started coming to Comic-Con when I started doing Chuck. It wasn't even that I didn't want to come to Comic-Con. It just wasn't at that point for me. When I started collecting comic books, I was in middle school and I was living up in Seattle, Washington, and I wasn't coming to Comic-Con then. And I was always playing video games, but I didn't ever cosplay. So Comic-Con really only became the entertainment con, if you will, that even allowed me to do this in the last 10 years, right? So, but I still grew up, literally running around pretending I was Gambit when all my buddies were Wolverine. I haven't talked about that in this panel yet, right? Now I'm having weird. It was the last panel. When you do two in a row, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And playing tons of it. Literally, like, I was an 80s poster child for sitting at home and playing video games. Like, I played them all. I loved them. I still love them. I actually have to purposely tell myself to take breaks, because if I don't, I will not accomplish anything else in life. I was playing so much Destiny that it became my destiny. That's not healthy. I'm telling anyone here right now, I love gaming. I'm sure you love gaming too. Take a break every once in a while. Engage with life. It's important. I said in the last panel as well, I've been thinking about this concept for a while now, that we are what we reach for. And on a really big, powerful kind of philosophical level. And I realized that, if you're constantly reaching for a video game controller, then your life is that. That's what your life is. And unfortunately, I think what video games have done, wow, this is me rabbit trailing again. Hold on. To answer your question, I do not consider myself that. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to hopefully be a leader in this world that can do cool things like this and keep bringing you guys stuff. If fun titles come out of that, rock and roll. But look, Stan Lee, as far as I'm concerned, like, if you're going to find a king of the nerds, like, he's got to be way the hell up there. Because all of this, it's the guys who created the DC and Marvel worlds that really and now gaming, but even that, you can still base a lot of it off of the comics that all those game developers read when they were kids, So as far as like nerddom, like, those guys are the kings. We're, me and Nathan get to come in and be like earls or whatever. I don't know. I'll be a duke of nerddom. I'm happy with that. But as far as just a tangent really quick on video games. One of the things I realized was I think it's the same thing with reality television. We have kind of come to a place in life where we have become so disconnected and entertained, which also furthers disconnection. But life is rough, right? And we're looking for ways to disconnect with the intensity of and the darkness when you're turning on the TV every other day and more people are dying. And so I think what happens with video games is we get this idea, because they're so good now, we're living another life. We don't have to jack into the Matrix. You actually are kind of living, even though you're doing this, like, I was living another life with my Titan in Destiny. I was constantly running around. I was constantly hanging out with my friends who are warlocks or hunters. And, not that I also didn't have a hunter and warlock, believe me, I had all three. And but you're running around. We're multiplayer all the time, running all the bounties, running the same damn bounties every other day. It's like, we just did this one, I know, but we just got more XP. Oh, I got a gun, I'm trying to level up. And I realized I'm not even living my life. I'm living my Titan's life right now. He's having a grand old time. He's getting plenty of exercise. He's beating bad guys. And video games are now structured in such an incredible way where you are constantly rewarded. You are constantly feeling like you are accomplishing something. And that's amazing and super scary. Because at the end of the day, if it all burns and we have a zombie apocalypse, guess what? Nobody's going to care what level you reached with your video games, because they're going to go, do you have food? Do you have water? Do you know how to chop wood or fix a fence or wiring? You don't? We're dead! We're all going to die! And by the way, this is not me harping on video games. I love them, and we have 180 stations of them upstairs. I think they are awesome. I will play them for the rest of my life, and I want to develop games and hybrids of games and get into the VR world and the AR world. I love it. My whole rant on that is, if you didn't already pick up on it, is let's also have a healthy relationship with our own real lives and people. And that's one of the things about Pokemon Go that I do think is kind of interesting, is that on one hand, it's engrossing people more into another video game, but at least you're bumping into people. At least you're walking around and you're doing it together. Go, oh my God. Like, you guys see that video of the people in New York who literally were abandoning their cars to go run into the bar? I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening in the world? But I tell you what, man, if we could get all those ISIS cats onto Pokemon Go, they would have a lot better. Like, stop killing people and go catch a Pikachu, for God's sake. They're right there. Look at the leaves. Look at the leaves. Anyway, so I've officially compared Jesus to Pokemon and encouraged ISIS to grab Pokemon. That's great. That's fantastic. We got about 5 more minutes. You got a person point at you. So Jessica Rabbit. Are you Jessica Rabbit? Yeah. Fantastic. Called it. Jessica Rabbit's friend. Go ahead. Stand and be counted.
So half of my question was already asked, but one of the things I want to say, because I have a bunch of my students/clients watching today, is just...
Don't screw up.
Well, but yeah, they'd hold that against me, and so would their parents. So just the fact that I know you kind of get emotional sometimes and hold back on that, but a lot of what you say and kind of expressing that is really great for the boys that I work with. Yeah. And so it kind of helps them to be expressive.
Where do you work?
Like that. I work in a school program as a therapist.
That's awesome.
Who have depression and anxiety.
That's awesome. Bravo. Round of applause for her, please. That's awesome.
So my question would be, okay, now I'm having...
Don't get him out. Hold on. Pass that back. Pass that.
I'm not going to cry. I'm just going to, like, blink.
That's what we all say.
So based on what you just said about video games, and I understand how you feel, if there's any game that you would want to create, what would the role be for you as a voice actor?
Oh, man, I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know. Something Nathan Drake-ish, I think. You know, like, I love that series. Look, how far back can I go? I don't know. Like, I just like it. I love action adventure. Have anybody watching Stranger Things? I asked the last panel. Stranger Things. Y'all got to get on it. It's, as a child of the 80s, and by the way, and also, you know, we kind of live in a world now where I really feel like, even though there's like big tentpole action adventure, as a genre, it's kind of, I think it's lacking. We don't get to go on those really cool journeys anymore. Like, where's the Goonies? Like, where and by the way, and Stranger Things offers that. Stranger Things is, like I said in the last panel, it's like if Spielberg and Wes Craven had a baby with, and like John Hughes was like also a surrogate in some way. Like, like John Hughes was the surrogate. That's exactly what it is. But it was, you know, I'm not going to go farther down that. That's just going to get weird. Point is, it's the things that we loved about E.T. and the Goonies and the Thing and it's that this nostalgia, but also so well executed, and you're on a journey. You're like, where are we going on this adventure? Really, it's not even the action so much as it's the adventure. We've lost our adventure. The whole world's been discovered. Technology continues to be discovered, but by pretty massive scientists, you know. Like, what are we discovering anymore? What are we finding? You know, and we find things in ourselves, but so if I'm making a video game, like I want to go make something that like taps into that. That's why the Uncharted series for me, you know, anything that even slightly resembles Han Solo or Indiana Jones, I'm in. I'm in. Harrison Ford is everything I ever wanted to be as a man. I mean, that's, you know, yeah. I'm gonna go right back there, right there. Yeah, you with the blonde with the pigtails.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question has to do with Disneyland. When my friends and I go to Disneyland, we all have a specific food item that we have to eat that like makes our trip. And I was wondering if there's maybe
A food item at Disneyland?
that you're like, I have to have that.
That is a
when I
great
go.
question. Thank you for asking.
Of course.
I've never been asked that before. I always appreciate that. Well, are you surprised by that?
I am.
How many people are you walking up to going, excuse me, at Disneyland? Is it the turkey leg? By the way, the turkey leg is one of my go-tos.
Okay.
Although I gotta say, it tastes more like ham. Is anybody with me on that? And I don't like that. I don't like that. It's not turkey. Sorry. Wait, what is it? Is it ham? It's emu? It is. Whoa! Oh, this is awesome. I want the turkey, no turkey fight going on right now. It's turkey. It's not. What the hell is it? What is it? Now you're freaking me out. Nobody knows? Hold on. Wait. What? It's smoked turkey. Smoked and seasoned. You're saying it's not. Who said it was emu? How do you know it's emu? Oh, now you're saying, well, I think. Come on, come with hard facts. Who are you? What? It is emu. You work at Disney World and it's emu. Now, hold on a second. I have a question, though. Could it be different at Disney World than Disneyland? Wait a minute. How do you...
Melinda said it's emu as well.
What's that?
Melinda says it's emu.
It is emu. And you're Disneyland OG. Okay. So listen, from those who work at the park, you work at the... Yeah, but you're saying it's not emu. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying it's not emu. I'm just saying it's not turkey. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it ain't turkey. All right, well, I think guys, we just figured something out together. How great is that? It's certainly not turkey, that's for sure. Sorry, turkeyers. And we think it's emu. All right, well, I'd like to taste it if it didn't taste like ham. That's number one. It's a little too hammy for me. And number two, I like the pickles. I go for those dill pickles often because I like a pickle. What else? You know, there used to be some really great clam chowder over by that little shack that was like right by where the pirate ship parked. Was that? Harbor Galley. They used to have the bread bowl. Is it still there? Really? They got a lobster roll now? I'm gonna have to try that. So all those things I kind of like, but I tell you what, one of the things that I know is gone for sure, and I'm bummed that it's gone. Was that? So you know what? Look, I'm not bummed about Soarin'. First of all, the end of Soarin' always made me sick. The way they shot the end of that ride, when you're at nighttime, when you're going over the downtown, it's all like at double speed. So by the way, I think the reason why they did that was so that the cars actually moved. Because if they showed it in real time, it'd just be nothing but a parking lot on the 110. But it was always like herky jerky. Like the other stuff was beautiful, but also, look, we had soaring over California for a long time. I'm a California kid. I get it. I love it. I want to soar over the freaking world. Why not soar over the freaking world? I'm into it. Bring back soaring over California. All they got to do is like put the other thing on loop, redo it, and you can bring it back for little anniversaries and stuff. I don't know. I'm good with that change. There's some other changes at Disneyland that bum me out. Like when they turned Tom Sawyer's Island into Pirate Cove. I mean, give me a break. What's that? It's not Star Wars. No, they're turning a whole. Yeah, and I hear Tower of Terror is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Terror or something like that. Or Guardians of the Galaxy Terror. No, what? Well, I don't know. Look, I was over Tower eventually as well. You ride a ride enough times. There's certain rides. I'll ride the storybook rides every single time. I love them every time. I'll go do Peter Pan. Like, I love it. It's the little kid in me. It never changed a ride ever. And you're in the pirate ship, and you got the bar. And you're just flying over, and still to this day, I look down on London and I go, how do they do that? That's so cool. And Alice in Wonderland, like, I like the little additions they're putting into things like Alice and stuff. Like, cool, do that. But, I remember when they turned Swiss Family Robinson into Tarzan Treehouse, and I was like, wait a minute. That's my childhood. But here's the thing. Lots more kids coming up, and that's their childhood. So I get it. Where did we go? What was I saying? The food. We were talking about the food. Oh, all right. And I'm going to end it here because my time. Wow, I'm way overdue. The corn dog? Oh, it's about the corn dog? All right. I like a corn dog. No, but the thing I miss this so much is there used to be that badass massive wagon of McDonald's fries that was right over by Big Thunder Mountain. And damn it, if I don't love me some McDonald's fries, they could be the worst thing for you in the world, but they taste like heaven dipped in unicorn tears, and I want them always, and especially like a quick snack, like, oh yeah, fries, thank you, boom, you're gone, you're on it. Calories, you need to burn them. All right, guys, what? I like a Dole Whip. I like me a Dole Whip, but the Dole Whip has to go hand in hand with Tiki. You got to go to if you do that, by the way, the Tiki Room, God, love that place. Love it to this day. Where the birds sing words and the flowers bloom. In the tiki, 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 tiki room. I said, aloha, tiki, tiki, tiki room. All right, guys, I love you, bye. Gotta go. Go buy some merch. Go high five all the volunteers. Love yourself and love each other. Enjoy Nerd HQ this year. We'll see you around. Bye.